on, thank you, Melissa. I work on the business team here at Work Avenue. I'm a business advisor. I'll come back to me in a minute, but just because I'm really grateful that we've got such a lot of new people here tonight, what I want to do now is just talk to you very briefly about Work Avenue. Work Avenue is an organisation founded in 2006. This is a really, really beautiful picture of our building in Redbourne Avenue in Finchley in the sunlight, not how it is tonight. Work Avenue exists to help people earn a living with dignity. That's what we do, whether people choose to do that via getting a job. And we have a big jobs placement team and employment team who can help you with anything that's job related, whether you need a CV and you want a covering letter, you want help applying, you want interview practice, whatever it is, we've got a brilliant employment team. But we also have a business team who can help you with all things that business related. So I don't want anybody to leave tonight feeling that this is the last step. This is really the first step with Work Avenue. And whatever you decide route that you want to take tonight, whether you want to run a business, whether you want to keep your job, whether you want to do a mixture of both, we have a team here who can help you. That's also our USP. That's our unique selling point. We're the only community, we're the only organisation within the community that does both. So I'm going to come back to that a bit later. In the last year, in 2022, over 2,000 people accessed our services, and almost 1,500 of them were employment service clients. So just one more thing I really want to share with you. The help that we provide is totally non-judgmental. It's totally unlimited, it's confidential, and it's free of charge. So you can access as little or as much of our one-to-one support or group support as you wish. Now, because everything that we do is confidential, I ask you to not share anything that your colleagues share tonight, so that we create a safe space for this webinar. And because of that, we also offer one-to-one follow-up, which I'll talk about a bit later on. But this is a safe space for you to share really anything about the topic we're talking about tonight. So just moving on. What we're going to cover tonight is exploring the possibilities. So if you're at the stage where a business is just an idea stage, when I say just, it's not just, it's a great place to start. How do you get from an idea to starting it? What do you need to think about? What do you need to do? And then there's plenty of time at the end for a Q&A, and then we've got a follow-up. So let's just make a start. So I just want to tell you why I decided to run this webinar. So this is a terrible picture of me. I hope my hair looks better tonight. I started off my career as an employee. I was a junior buyer at the supermarket Tesco. I worked in head office for nearly 15 years, working my way up the ranks as a buyer. I then decided that that wasn't quite compatible with family life. And so I left with a colleague from Tesco, which is key, and I'll come back to that in a minute. And we set up a consultancy practice of our own. So essentially, we were self-employed. We worked for ourselves. We did that for 15 years. Then, for various reasons, we decided we didn't want to do that anymore. We went our separate ways, very amicably. And then I went to work for a charity called Kisharon as a freelancer. Then I decided I'd really done as much as I could there. And I came to Work Avenue. And again, I've returned as employee. So this whole evening tonight is me saying, I've done this journey and it is possible. And I didn't have the support. And now what I want to do is use the experience that I've gained at Work Avenue and the team that I have here, which is amazing. But also my own expertise to say to you, okay, this is how I did it. How can I help you get to where you want to be? So the first thing that I wanted to tell you about is the main reason that you're up for the ride is that most people decide to start a business because they think that they have something that doesn't exist. So they see it to impact the world in a positive way. And that's why it's so fulfilling. When I went from Tesco to set up a business of my own, we set up a new type of retail consultancy that had never been done before. It was the most exciting thing in the world. I would recommend it almost to anyone to have a go. But I also know that the more you can be clear on the sacrifices you'll make and the challenges you encounter on the journey, the more you'll know what you're letting yourself in for. It's great in theory that you can decide which days you want to work. You can decide how long you want to work. You can decide you're never going to work at weekend, or you're never going to work in a school holiday, or you're never going to deal with the horrible people who you're working with now, some of you, which is why you're here tonight. But it's also really, really hard work. The entrepreneurial journey is intense. It's really hard, and being clearer on what motivates you and what decisions you want to make along the way is really key. You'll often hear entrepreneurs say, if I'd known how hard it was going to be when I started, I wouldn't have started. But the same people admit, whether or not they succeeded, that they wouldn't change the experience for anything. But it's definitely true that the clearer you are on what drives you and what motivates you, the better, and the more chance you've got of success. I just want to set it in context, actually, because the latest data shows that in 2020 to 2021, 810,000 new companies were started in the UK, of which 90% survived the year, and that includes the year that was the pandemic. So these things, I want you to start off feeling positive. I want you all to start off feeling this is possible and I can do this. I'm not going to say it's not easy. I'm not going to say I didn't have sleepless nights, but I do want you to know that you can do it. So let's just keep going and start with this. Clarifying your objectives. So what I'd like to ask you, and Melissa is actually going to share something that's really clever, which is a poll. I'd like to ask you why you decided to sign up tonight. So what are the key drivers for you, and what are you actually looking for? Now, honestly, there are no right or wrong answers. What worked for me in setting up a business wouldn't work for most of my colleagues, and what worked for them wouldn't work for me. So there's no right or wrong answers, but just please, Melissa, can we put it in the chat so that people can see? There we go. How confident are you that leaving your job is the right thing to do? Okay, so I can see here actually that the answers are fairly evenly spread between really not very sure, which is number 1, and really sure, which is number 5. There isn't really, which is great because it means that there's lots and lots that we can talk about tonight. Honestly, there are no right or wrong answers in this, and what works for you may not work for somebody else. So when we're talking about clarifying your objectives, the type of business that you start is really driven by which of these things, whether it's money or security or autonomy or independence or challenge, which of these things is the thing that matters to you most. And actually, when we asked you, when you signed up for the webinar, we asked you why you wanted to, you know, why you thought you were going to sign up. I'm just going to read my notes, just on this to make sure I got it right. I'm not going to use your names, but one of you said, I'm in a job that's killing me. It's demanding and I'm having to work overtime and it's really stressful. Whoever that is, you're absolutely in the right place and I hope we can help you tonight. Somebody else said, I've been told that I don't have enough experience for a role, and so I'm here to learn how to get more. That's another brilliant answer. You're absolutely in the right place. Also heard from somebody who says, and I can't tell you where she works, I'm really unhappy. It's really stressful and it's pressurized. We don't want anybody to feel like that. And so if we can help you tonight, that's great. Okay, just moving on. All right, just going to go back one. So having confidence in yourself is really key. and having confidence in your professional ability is really, really important. So I have to say now, because otherwise I wouldn't be doing my job properly, that hating your job or hating your boss is not a reason to start a business. It's a reason to change what you're doing, but it's not enough to start a business. Neither is running away or trying to escape something. Neither of those things give you, if you're in a position where you feel that those things reflect how you feel now, neither of them suggest that you have the confidence in your professional ability and in yourself, which you need to start a business. So when we put those two things together, this is not what works. So anybody who feels like this, I totally understand. I've absolutely been there. Then let us help you, but starting a business is not necessarily what may work. So, sorry. I also just want to say, just to put it in context, that while we're talking about confidence, stepping out of your comfort zone is important, but it's absolutely not essential. And I just want to give you 3 examples of that. Once upon a time, there was a company called Apple Computer Inc., and it focused solely on computers. It was founded on April the 1st in 1976 by 2 college dropouts who'd gone to college and who didn't finish their degrees. They wanted to design computers small enough for consumers to have them in their homes. As the legend goes, the first Apple computer was made in their family's garage in California, and look where they are now. I'll give you another one, Hewlett-Packard, which is another hugely successful company. In 1939, which is a really long time ago, 2 electrical engineer graduates at Stanford, which is a university in America, started their company in a 1-car, 12 by 18-foot garage in the back of the house. The company's first product was an audio oscillator, and its first company was Walt Disney. And look where both of them are now. Lastly, Amazon, just to show that anybody can do it, in 1984, just 4 years after being named the youngest vice president of a successful New York hedge fund, this successful professional quit his job, drove to Bellevue in Washington, rented a house, and began developing software. And as the rest we all know is history. So please believe that you can all do this. So let's go back to looking at what your reasons are for starting a business. You could be looking for a new job, and that could be an alternative. If you break it down, the reasons why you wanted to come tonight, is it your boss, the role, the organization, or the whole industry? If it's the whole thing, then starting a business may well be right for you. But if it's not, and it's just one of those, then please let us help you explore what else might be right, rather than just make the jump. The other thing to consider is, do you need to move organizations? But are comfortable there, and the whole idea seems scary. We see this a lot at Work Avenue, where somebody's been they've been in a role or a series of roles within the same organization for a long period of time. And they get worried about leaving, and they get scared about what the outside world is like, and they think that they're never going to find another job. Please come and talk to us. We can help you. The other thing is that your voluntary work or your hobbies might be a really great start in guiding you with what you could do next. So you could do a halfway house, start a business using a hobby, and keep your job. So let's just move on a bit and look at what your options could be. So first, the side hustle. The side hustle is a flexible job that you work at to the side of your primary job. It's a way to bring in extra cash, flex your creative muscles, and more. It may allow you to earn money while doing something that engages you and gaining professional experience in a new field. Now, my tip is you can never go wrong with a side hustle. You've just heard from me about the people who've done it, not just Google, but Amazon and Hewlett-Packard. You could make a start on a new business by working it into your spare time. So we have a careers advisor on the team with Melissa and I here at Work Avenue. He's a children's party entertainer on the side. So he does one thing during the week and he does another thing at the weekend. So a side hustle is a really great way to just try something that's new. To make it work, you could agree with your employer and negotiate your hours down on appointment. So go from, say, 4 days to 3 days or 5 days to 4 days, and use that extra day to build your side hustle on the side. So what are the advantages of this? The first one is that it gives you flexibility. You can do something in your free time. It also improves your finances. You're going to be paid for whatever you do. It's a great way to explore something that you're passionate about. And it's a great way to test the business without there being a risk. So one of the things we're going to consider next is when you give everything up, you give up the job, you give up everything, and you start a business. That is really risky. A side hustle isn't risky. It's just not. You do it at the same time. So tutoring, we have lots of people at Work Avenue who tutor in the evenings and at the weekends. We have lots of people who walk dogs, who are music teachers or cleaners, people who love the gym, who've become personal trainers in the evenings or at the weekends. We also have somebody as a client who's a jewellery designer. So my tip is to make it work. Choose a side hustle that matches your interest, skills, and professional goals. You don't have to think that you're going to give everything up and you're going to dog walk full time or be a music teacher full time, but it's much better and you've got much more chance of success if you choose something that you actually really like and you're interested in and you have the skills to do. So the second option is to work as a freelancer, which, so you've heard from me, it's what I did. I left the consultancy practice I'd set up and I went to do some freelance work in the Jewish community for another Jewish charity. So let's just be clear what a freelancer is. A freelancer is an independent contractor who earns wages on a job or per task basis, typically for short-term work. An example would be an independent journalist who reports on stories of their own choosing and sells them to the highest bidder. Now, freelancers give you the freedom to work from home. And certainly freelancing has taken an enormous, the numbers of freelancers that we see at Work Avenue has just gone through the roof since the pandemic, where people want to work at home. And also now that we have Teams and Zoom and Google Meet and everything that makes it so easy. So working from home and the freedom to work in a non-traditional workspace, a flexible work schedule and a better work-life balance, all of these things can come from freelancing. It's a really, really great option. And again, it can work alongside a regular role. The disadvantages of freelancing is that freelancers are not employees. They do not usually enjoy benefits from their employers, such as health insurance or retirement plans. It's also not a regular income stream. And it is client and industry dependent. So at Work Avenue, we have a big program to create freelance work for our clients. It's run under one of our departments here called WAGE, W-A-G-E. It stands for Work Avenue Generating Employment. And plenty of people come to us asking us for freelance work, and we match them and we match their skills with clients who we have on the employment side and clients who we have on the business side. So if you're interested in becoming a freelancer, please talk to us, please message us. At the end, I'll put it in the chat, and we'll put you in touch with Jeremy, our colleague who runs the wage department. I just need to say one more thing about freelancing. Freelancing works best when people understand that people buy people. So you have to be a people person because you're selling yourself. You're not just selling your skills. 90% of the time with freelancing, people buy people. So they want to work with people who they like. So if you're somebody who prefers to work on your own, then freelancing work may not work for you because you actually have to go out and get the work. But we're happy to, if it's a confidence issue, we're really happy to help with that. But freelancing does come with its drawbacks. So let's just move on to consulting. I'm just taking a drink. So a consultant is a person who provides professional or expert advice in a particular field of science or business to either an organization or an individual. It's worth noting there is no legal protection given to the job title consultant. So you could all set up businesses tomorrow and say you were consultants. There's nothing to stop you. It is worth noting, why do clients hire consultants? They do this because they possess expert advice and have a knowledge advantage. So you may be going through a change at work and you need an extra pair of hands, you need some extra skills. You don't want to recruit somebody who then on the books and you have to pay them long term. Consultants can come in, do a particular job and go. It's usually well paid, but it's not always very rewarding. My tip about consultancy is that you have to be quite thick-skinned, because sometimes you get blamed for quite a lot of things happening in the organization. You're an easy target because you're not a member of staff. So pros of consultancy: your daily rate may well be higher than a regular member of staff, and that's a big pro. You're considered an independent at work, so you're not usually involved in office politics. You're less likely to be involved in sensitive staff situations, and it's often an opportunity to meet and work with lots of different people, which is lovely if you're a people person. If you prefer variety in your daily tasks, then this may be for you, because you could have 3 or 4 different consultancy projects all on the go at one time, and you're doing something different or slightly different for each one of them. So it can be a really easy and nice way to keep variety in your working life. On the negative side, firms hire consultants as it can be cheaper in some areas than retraining the staff in-house. So that's a definite. They can hire them when they find themselves short in capacity for projects and positions. It can be a short hire as a stopgap. There's no very, very little long-term view of consultancy. It can be easier to get consultants to do the dirty work, as I said, to take the decisions no one internally wants to make. But some really, really good careers can be made in consultancy. We have systems engineers at Work Avenue and HR managers who have really good, successful careers. But it's not for everybody. And the same thing applies with freelance work as it does with consultancy. You have to be able to sell the work and go out and get it and meet people, as well as you doing the work. So you have to be able to do both. So the last option that I want to look at is seasonal work. So this is really where you do something that's just a short season. So in the summer, it can be you're working in an ice cream stand or some kind of garden cafe. It could be you work somewhere where there's fruit picking. In the winter, it can be something that's festive related, something that's related to Christmas, or something that's related to Hanukkah. So it works just for one time of the year. 9 times out of 10, it works on commission. So commission pay is a financial incentive given to employees based on high performance or achievement. It's usually selling a certain amount of goods or services. And the roles on commission are usually sales roles, so selling space in a magazine at Christmas. Employees can earn more money on top of their basic salary, and it can be seasonal, and therefore it can be more flexible. I just need to say with this that full commission work is very flexible. You can control your own schedule, and that's great. You may earn more on a daily basis than paid salaried staff, and that's great. You are less likely to be involved in sensitive staff situations as you may work remotely, and that's great. And if you prefer variety in your daily tasks, then this may be for you. But in seasonal work, there's no job security. So they might take you on for a very short period of time, and they may not stick to that period. So they might take you on for 6 weeks, but you only may get 1 week's worth of work. If the role is 100% commission, which it very, very often is, there's no guarantee you will earn anything. So you can work on a commission basis, but if you don't sell anything, you come home with nothing. Because of that, your colleagues can be super competitive and the environment can be aggressive. It's not always, and it depends where it is. And there's always exceptions to every rule. The other thing is that estate agents usually work on this, as do fundraisers and insurance sales reps. And some job recruiters and talent spotters also work on commission. So those are really 4 options as to how you could make the setting up the business work alongside what you're currently doing. So, can you put your thumbs up, or can you put something in the chat to let me know how you're feeling now? What I don't want to do is scare anybody off. I certainly don't want to make a judgment about anything or anyone. But I do want everybody to know that these are the options as we see it for getting started. So how do you feel now? Are you excited as you have a skill or hobby that you want to make more of? And if you do, that's brilliant, and we will support you all the way. Are you feeling empowered? I hope you're feeling empowered as you like the idea of running something yourself that's your own and you're going to build it. And if you are, that's brilliant. Are you excited about making your own decisions? Are you happy to work under sociable hours? And if all those things are true, then starting a business is for you. Brilliant. Okay, that's the first part. Just going to move on now. So what I'd like to talk about now is actually how do you do it? How do you actually get these things started? So here we go. I want to start with the definition of a startup business. So Steve Blank, he's a professor of entrepreneurship at Stanford, which is a university in America. He's also a senior fellow at entrepreneurship at Columbia University, which is another American university. He was really the first guy who actually wrote about entrepreneurship. And he said, a startup is a temporary organization formed to search for a repeatable and scalable business model. Now, the reason I want to start with this are startups are not small versions of big companies. They're a collection of people, or one person, united by a clear problem and a set of shared assumptions and a vision for how they profitably can build a solution. So the difference I'm making here is that, as you've heard with Google, with Amazon, with Hewlett-Packard, in all of those three cases, the business started very, very small. And what they decided to do at the beginning is not how the business then took off. With Amazon, they started only selling books. Now, we all know they sell absolutely anything and everything now. But the business model at the time started selling books. It started selling books because they had the business meetings in a bookshop. And that's where they started. So what it's important to realize now is that you don't start a new business as a multi-million-pound enterprise. You start a business as a startup and you build it from a startup to a big company, and it will change along the way. You will change. It will change in shape. It will change in structure. It will change in how you do things, and the things that you do in the business will also change. And that's all part of the journey. Sorry, just one second. So I just want to mention here, WeHub. For those of you who are new to us at Work Avenue, and we're new to you, Work Avenue has, as you've heard from me, 3 teams: an employment team, a business team, and a wage team. But we also have an office where you can come in and you can rent a desk, a couple of desks. You can come and pay by the hour, you can pay by the week or pay by the month. And it's called WeHub. It's a shared office space that we have here at our building in Finchley. And one of the things that we have is we have a big entrepreneur culture. So you can come and network and meet people who are at a very, very similar stage to you. And anybody that would like to come and see what we do, would like a tour of the building, please put it in the chat and we will organise that. Okay, so let me just talk to you about the different sorts of businesses. So on the left, we're working from left to right. So on the left, a hobby business. A hobby is a type of business you only sell what you make and you only make what you sell. So I saw somebody today. She's a really, really creative art student. She has a job in sales, but she wants to start a business of her own, and she is designing jewellery boxes. So she buys jewellery boxes that are plain in wood, and she sticks all sorts of things on them. She sticks jewels and sequins and puts people's names on them. And she does that. So basically, she only sells what she can make, and she only makes what she can sell. And she's really, really happy. She may, in a couple of years' time, decide that she's going to stop working and she's going to make this a bigger business and maybe she's going to do glasses cases and ring boxes and different sorts of jewellery boxes. But at the moment, that's where she is, and that is her business, and that's fine. Now, moving to the right, play it safe. This is what we call a business where the cash flow drives the profit. So something where you're buying a raw material and you sell it as something else. So a florist, where you buy a certain amount of flowers, you put them in a bouquet or a bundle or a posy, and you sell those. You take one raw material and you make it into something else. Now, in those types of businesses, it's going to take you 6 or 9 months to drive a profit, because what happens is every penny that you make goes back into buying flowers. Now, again, there's nothing wrong with that. That works for a lot of people. It's very safe. It's very secure. It allows you to try something out. You're not buying a huge amount of stock. You're not buying machinery. You're not renting premises. You can do it from home. But it will give you a taste of what running a business is like. So playing it safe is a great way to start. Now, moving again to the right, heavy duty. So heavy duty is what we call businesses that are manufacturing based. So this is where there's a big amount or a large amount of investment. So you need equipment, you need raw materials, you need a manufacturing base, you need trained staff, you need health and safety procedures, you possibly need export licenses. You have teams of people to make the operations work. Now, some people start their business like that, and that's absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. It needs a lot of investment to start with, or you have to start from a business that you're already working in. So if you're already working in a heavy duty business and you decide that you're going to take a part in that business and then you're going to run it as your own, that's usually the fastest way to make heavy duty businesses work. It takes a lot of planning and a long time to set them up. Now, moving again to the right, build to sell. A build to sell business, we were building it to sell for a profit. So this is not about what you produce. These are usually finance or systems or IT or tech businesses. You're building it simply because you're going to sell it to Facebook, or you're going to sell it to Amazon, or you're going to sell it in the tech arena to somebody like that. App businesses come into this build to sell arena. So where there's lots of Israeli entrepreneurs, so people, the guys who designed Waze and various other things, that's what they did. They built a business to sell. So these are the different ways that you can start to build a business. Now, what next? How do you actually do it? So firstly, all or nothing. You decide that you're going to quit your job completely and start your business. And if that's the right option for you, that's brilliant. You can use your savings. So I would suggest, if you just do decide you want to do this, you build an adequate bank account to support yourself as you build the business. You factor in costs for up to a year, and you allow for more budget than you think you need. It's easier to pay yourself a salary as you start to build the business. So you may want to look at crowdfunding or angel investment. It is the most risky, but it's also probably the most exciting. And that's because you'll have lots of time to work on the business without having to worry about your day job. You have all the time to dedicate to the business, which should mean that you'll progress and generate revenue much more quickly. You have to deal with the fear and the pressure. And when you quit your job to go solo, you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself to make it work very quickly. Unless you're able to raise investment and pay yourself a salary, you may really, really feel that it's scary. But the other side of scary is exciting. And it's really, really exciting to do it like this. So if that isn't for you, what about this? Building a business from your job. So dedicate the time to work on it and join a freelance network. Build it at the weekends, or set aside a fixed time each week that you'll be dedicating to working on it. And this will be crucial to making any progress. You have to pick a time and a date and stick to it. Now, set yourself time-sensitive goals to ensure you stay on course, but make them realistic. It's very easy to get sidetracked months down the line and realize you haven't done anything on your to-do list. The other thing about this is it's much easier to do from where you choose something that's related to what you're doing. So if you're a maths teacher, you can go to being a bookkeeper. In some cases, if you're a bookkeeper and you've got a teaching qualification, you'd also go to a maths teacher. The thing here is that it's the same skills base. Building a business from your job where you're talking about a different skills base is complex. Now, what are the advantages of this? The first one is that you're building a business from a sector that you know, and that's brilliant. The other thing is that it's much more financially stable because you're not giving up on what you're doing. You can reach out to existing contacts in order to secure a few contracts so you can worry less about the money. The downside of this is that your lack of time is the biggest challenge, and it's very, very easy to get sidelined unpaid work. So you leave your business when you're getting paid for doing other things. Going part-time may be the only way you can make it work. If any of you are thinking about this, we have a group meeting next week to talk about asking difficult questions at work and how you do that. It's part of our in-work support work program. And so if you're thinking about doing this and you think, actually, going part-time is a really, really difficult question for me, I don't know how to do that, please come and talk to us. You may need to ask for a sabbatical, or you may need to ask for a pay cut to do that. Now, what about this one? The side project. The side project is a great way of testing out the experience you have gained in your job and setting up a business using it. So you're testing out an idea that you think might someday become a full-time business. So you're doing it side by side. You're building skills that will be invaluable in any career should you decide not to start up. They become transferable skills. You just add them back onto your CV as more things you can do. You should start a project that excites you and frame it as a project. And this is really important. If you don't take anything else away from tonight, please understand this. Setting yourself a target to start a business is really hard. You need a lot of support to help you. And we're very happy and we will provide you with that. But if you start to think about it as setting up a business rather than this one, doing a project, it takes away the pressure. You're testing some ideas with a view to making it permanent. You'll be flexible. You're open to challenges. If it works, great. If it doesn't, that's also okay. But you're not driving yourself very, very hard. So it's a really, really good, easy, comfortable way to start. It's really important, though, that you look at your dreams and aspirations and you start a project that excites you. I always start people off with this one by saying, if there are 10 different careers you wish you were able to take and try out for a bit, what would they be? And for me, when you're looking at a side project, that's the question to ask. If I could do anything in the world, what would I do? I would have loved to have a flower shop. I love flowers. I would have loved to do that. Then seize the opportunity to explore ambitions without having to retrain in a given field. Learn new valuable skills by working on a new project. So you may learn how to pitch your business, how to build a brand, how to make sales. And building up a side project is a great creative outlet. It allows you to think more creatively and strategically. You get paid. The other thing is that you don't need anyone's permission or qualification to do the things that you're interested in. It's totally you. The business is your control. The project is yours. Whatever you do, whenever you do it, it's totally up to you. Please, please don't put yourself under any pressure. I just want to use this example now, going back to Google. They allowed 20% of every employee was allowed 20% of their time to work on whatever innovative projects they wanted. And that's how Gmail and Google Talk were born. So that's a bit of a hybrid because they were essentially building them to sell. But the concept was go away and spend half a day a week or a whole day a week doing something that you're just interested in and see where that takes you. For me, I think this builds up a huge amount of personal skills. So for me, the pros are amazing. You can test out many business ideas and see which one fits best for you. So you can do more than one project at the same time. You can keep your business agile and low risk. You're not going to do something that needs a huge amount of investment. You can try out something you're curious about and explore if you'd really like to do it as a full-time job. That's a brilliant, brilliant place to be. It helps you in your job search. It helps you move forward. It helps you grow. Finding out that actually it isn't something you really enjoy in practice is just as valuable as finding out that it is something you'd like to continue. It's so important because you're finding out things about yourself, some of which you didn't know, some of which you may have thought. If I had a flower business, I'd have to go and buy flowers at 4 a.m. every morning. I'm not sure that's for me, but I couldn't do the business without doing that. So for me, that's actually about me finding out that something that I thought I'd really enjoy is not something that I could do. Use the time to build up a business so that you already have a head start by the time you decide to go. And the other thing about this is you might decide never to do it full time, and that again is all right. The flip side to this is that if you're very driven and if you really want to make things work now, then this might feel too slow and not ambitious enough. But it's a big barrier. Most of us think in all or nothing terms. Either I'm quitting my job and I'm starting a business now, or I'll wait to start until I'm ready to do so. It's very, very rare that there will ever be a perfect time, which is why I'm really keen on people starting side projects and side hustles and just trying new things without them putting the pressure on themselves to be able to say, I did it or I didn't do it. Don't set targets, just have a go. So if you've decided that this is right, that's amazing. What are the things that you actually have to think about? So, do you have a business idea? Now, at the beginning, at the very, very beginning, one of the things I said was that this is a session that's confidential. This is the reason that I asked for the session to be confidential, because some of you might have come up with an idea that is just germinating in your mind and you don't want to share it with anyone else. And that's why I want to run this as a safe session. Write the business idea down. And then ask these questions to yourself, because if we start to work together and you're considering a new business, these are things that I'm going to ask you. Does the business solve a problem or serve a customer need? Are there other people doing a similar or the same thing? Now, almost everyone, when they're starting a business and they come to talk to us at Work Avenue, almost everyone says, no, there is nobody doing the same thing as me. My next trick is to say, okay, please describe to me what your business does. I type that into Google. If anybody comes up with anything similar, then you have competition in the market. And it's as simple as that. That doesn't mean that your idea isn't bigger or better, but there are other people doing something similar. And that's when we'd start to look at what kinds of business you should do. The other thing is, this is at the bottom. This is my favorite saying. Is there a gap in the market for your business? Almost everybody that comes to Work Avenue says, yes, there is definitely a gap in the market for my business. I'm really happy to hear that. My next question is there a market in the gap? Which means, let's say you have a meat business. You supply raw meat. Okay, you're the only supplier of raw meat in a particular, let's just say a particular village in the Lake District. You're a raw meat supplier, okay, and you're going to supply, you come to me and you say, sorry, I'm going to supply raw meat to this particular village in the Lake District. Can I say, that's brilliant, it sounds great. There sounds like there's a real gap in the market for your business. There's no other meat people in that village. Great. Now, is there a market in the gap? What if everybody in that village was vegan? Despite the fact that you are the only person with that business, nobody's going to buy from you. So in that case, yes, there is a gap in the market, but no, sorry, the very, very lovely caretaker is just telling me he's going home. Brilliant. Thank you very much. That's lovely. Brilliant. That's lovely. Thank you very much. Sorry about that. It's very nice, gentleman, just making sure that I'm okay on my own in the building. So in this case, is there a gap in the market for your business? Yes, there is nobody in the Lake District that supplies meat to that village. Yes. Is there a market in the gap? No, because nobody wants what you have. So these are the questions to ask yourself. The other thing that I'm very keen on is about USP, unique selling point. Right at the beginning, I mentioned about Work Avenue. And one of the incredible things about Work Avenue is that we're the only organisation within the community where we have a business and employment team and a team that helps freelancers and helps you get work experience. That's our USP. That's our unique selling point. There isn't anybody else that does that. What you really want is a business with a unique selling point. It's more difficult than it sounds to find. In lots of cases, you will be the unique selling point because you're brilliant. So, business things to consider. In actual fact, this slide should only say one thing. I know it says lots of other things, but it should just say one thing: plan, 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 plan. When we have conversations with the British Business Bank, they tell us that the failure to plan is the biggest reason why businesses fail. So thinking about how much you need or want to earn from running a business. What are the costs involved in starting up? How many times do you need to make a sale to recover from your profit? So that's something that in the second type of business we were talking about, where you only buy using the money that you've sold. So if you need to make 10p, you've only got 10p to spend. How many times do you need to make a sale to make a profit? How long will it take you to make money and earn a salary from the business? And how many hours do you want to work or can you dedicate? These are the really difficult, sometimes uncomfortable questions to ask yourself, but it's so much better to start with this at the beginning and think about these yourselves, or come to us so that we can help you think about them before you go too far. So the other thing is about being honest. It's about understanding yourself. Do you have the capability and aptitude to do it? Then the other thing is that you need, for 99% of businesses, you need basic numeracy and literacy. So that's entry level, GCSEs, maths and English. And if this is a barrier, again, please come and talk to us. Have you got the business acumen to get clients, make sales and plan a marketing strategy? And are you willing to do the jobs you may hate? Because what you have to do is work on the business as well as in it. Let me tell you how that works. Working on the business is doing the strategy. It's going out to get customers. It's spending time looking at your competition. It's spending time looking at how you can improve your product. It's almost being a consultant to your own business. That's what working on the business is like. Working in it is doing all the things that you need to do to make it happen. Making the product, selling the product, packaging the product, sending it off, doing your marketing, doing your social media, doing your costings, paying bills. All of that is working in the business. Working on it is making yourself a consultant for your own business and driving the strategy. I just want to tell you one more thing about this. When I moved from Tesco and I set up a consultancy practice of my own, I didn't feel that I had the whole range of skills that I needed to be able to do it. I also didn't think, when I was being honest with myself, that there were things that I was ever going to learn to do. So what I did instead was I went into business with a partner. And I chose somebody who I'd known for a long time. I'd worked with her at Tesco for a long time. And she was so completely different from me. And what she wanted from the business was totally different to what I wanted. I wanted to be out there all day, every day, meeting people, selling work, delivering work, having coffee with people. That's what I wanted to do. She never wanted to leave home. She wanted to sit at a kitchen table in her pajamas and do strategy, do bills, pay invoices. And she used to give me a plan and I would go out and sell it. It worked really, really well because we were both honest with ourselves about what we could do, what we were willing to learn, and also what we needed from each other and what we wanted from the business. So that's why this slide is here. What are the voices saying to you? Are they saying, I'm too busy? Are they saying, I don't think I'll be able to find the time to do this? Are they saying, I've done this before and it doesn't work and it's too scary and I'm scared and nobody listens to me? It's really important that in addition to recognizing what you're competent at, you're also recognizing what kind of mindset you have. So here's an example of two. Now, the growth mindset on the right is really where you have to try and be if you want to start a business. The mindset on the left is where people are generally who are scared, and it's totally understandable, totally understandable. But it's a question of how you can shift yourself from the left side to the right side, because you need to believe in your own potential. You need to believe that you can change things. You need to like learning and to grab opportunities and believe that you can get the results you want and you can be good at anything. If you feel inside that you're firmly on the left, that's not a reason that you can't do it. But please, please let us help you change your mindset and give you the confidence to do it. The fear of spending 4, 5, maybe 10 years and lots of money building a business that doesn't work is the single most important reason why people don't start. They're frightened, but it's never been easier or cheaper now in 2024 to start something new. You don't need to commit to doing it for the rest of your life. You don't even commit to talking about it as a business. You can talk about it as a hobby. You can talk about it as a project. All you need to do is commit to having a go. I also want to say that Work Avenue is here to help you every step of the way, whatever you decide or choose. So, working for a plan. It's really, really smart to define success for yourself. So I'll give you an example. I had a business client come in today. She sells jewellery. I asked her what success looks like for her. She says success for her looks like selling into Selfridges. The Selfridges is a big, old, established department store on Oxford Street in London. She said to me, that's what success looks like for me. I want to sell my jewellery into Selfridges. So it doesn't matter what this is. All that matters is that it's about you. The more you look into startups, the more you feel the pressure to build the next runaway success. It doesn't have to be a £10 million business. Startups can take years. But it's really important that you recognize why you are doing it. It could be something that catalyzes your career change. It could be, a side project that brings you some extra income. Successful projects can be launched in a weekend. Please relax about building a business and focusing on launching that successful startup project. That's really the message I want to give you. And if version 1 is successful, you may decide to undertake the hard work and turn it into a business. But first of all, let's just think about it as a project. So it's a lot harder to build a business solo, which is what you've heard from me. Business partners are there to pick you up when you're down and to share the successes when they come. The power of 2 people solving a problem is much, much greater than 1 + 1. And assessing your complementary skills together is key. All of those things are what the business team does at Work Avenue. We can help you work out who you should partner with. We can also be a partner with you in terms of helping you choose what you want to do. So, starting the right idea for you. I want to make sure that everybody goes away feeling positive and not feeling worried. And so I want to give you 3 things that failed the first time, because good ideas are worthless on their own. And there's lots of people who are incredibly creative, but they don't know how to put anything into practice. Good ideas executed excellently can be really valuable. And there's a massive difference between having a great idea and being the right person to turn a good idea into reality. So 3 that I want to talk to you about. Bubble wrap, which we all use. You're packing something up in a suitcase to take something to someone, or you're buying something fragile in a shop and they bubble wrap it for you to stop it breaking. Bubble wrap failed the first time. The second one I want to give you is heart pacemakers. When they were first developed, they didn't work. They hadn't quite got the connections right. It wasn't that they couldn't transplant it. It was that they couldn't work out how to make everything work. And now heart pacemakers are something that they do thousands and thousands of operations of in the NHS all the time. Okay, my favorite, which I've saved to last. I don't know whether anybody is good with DIY. I'm certainly not great with DIY, but I do know about WD-40, which is a little can of something with a spout that I put it in the lock when something's squeaking or you need to oil something. I don't know whether anybody knows why it's called WD-40. This is my favorite thing. It's WD-40 because for 39 times in the lab, it failed and they couldn't get the consistency right. So if they can do it and it's something that stood the test of time, then I think we all have a chance. So, next steps. Building a goal staircase is about picturing yourself in 12 months' time. What do you see yourself doing? Now, it may be that you think in 12 months' time, you may have started trading. And if that's for you, that's brilliant. You may say, in 12 months' time, I just want to have chosen a project. And if that's for you, that's brilliant. Once again, it's not judgmental. Whatever works for you, we will support you. But it's a really, really good thing to do to say, okay, what am I doing now? And even if today you say, what would be my first step? You don't have to do it. You don't need to do it, but just identify what would be the first step in the journey. And start with that. And if that's what you do, that's brilliant. Now, taking action. So whether you're staying in employment or wanting to move into the business world, please contact us at Work Avenue. On the last slide, I'm going to put my details and arrange an appointment with our employment or business team. If you're just not sure what to do, then please make an appointment with me and I will help you decide whether you want to do one or the other, or actually whether you want to do both. And that's absolutely fine. We also have basic courses and introductory courses and work experience via Wage. We can look at volunteering positions for you. We can look at work experience for you, or maybe an interim. We also do networking on the first Thursday of every month. We have a peer-to-peer networking group. So people come in and they just come and they talk about, we pick a topic. Sometimes it's how I do marketing, how I get new clients, how I go and sell the work. Can be anything, and people come in, you pre-book and you just come in and have a chat, have a cup of coffee and say, how do you do this? I do it like this. And somebody will say, well, actually, I don't know how to do that. Can you show me? I do this. It's really good. If networking is the thing for you, tomorrow morning, we have a networking event here at Work Avenue. You can register tonight online. It's a workshop about how to do it. So my top tips. You will need to be able to champion your own cause. So a good idea is worth very little, but the hard work, determination, drive, and passion to sweat will make it work. If you're starting off as a hobby business, or you're starting off with a business where you sell what you make and you make what you sell, then that can be at a pace that's lovely and easy to suit the rest of your life. The more you are interested in driving something, the more you need to be prepared to do the things you don't like, and the more you're prepared to succeed. People need to buy into you before they buy from you. Entrepreneurs don't wake up one day and decide to be entrepreneurs. They decide to start things and they become entrepreneurs through repeated actions and learning. The other thing is, please don't beat yourself up. Not everybody can be a Steve Blank. Not everybody is an entrepreneur. Does that mean you can't start a business? No. You're just doing it in a different way. So, what we've now got is sort of between 5 or 10 minutes for a Q&A. I'm happy for you either to unmute yourself and ask me any questions that you'd like about anything we've covered today, or for you to put it in the chat. But while I do that, I'm just going to go back so that you can see this link here. Melissa, is it possible you can open the link? See if Melissa can open the link. Okay, this is the booking link to my diary, so that if you want to book a session tomorrow or next week or the week after, you can do, and we can talk about your business idea. And again, it's completely private and confidential. It's a 30-minute session and you can do it either on the phone or online. So anybody that would like to, please click on that. I wonder if I can, there we go. Okay, and then lastly, just so that we finish on time, I just want to say thank you very much to everybody who came tonight. Thank you again to my lovely colleague, Melissa, for making it all work. If there's anything that any of us can do at Work Avenue to help you, then please do let us know. Please get in contact by emailing me. We'll send you the slides. The recording will be on our website if you want to watch it again, but we'll send you everything that we've talked about tonight. And if there is anything in particular that I've talked about that you'd like more information on, then please do let us know.